Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Yep, it's Thursday. It's February 7th, 2013. This is daily number 550, where we learn to be a better gamer. And tomorrow, I will be playing the game Link to the Past for like 7 hours. Hope to see you then. It starts at 10 a.m. Pacific. Because, let's be honest, if I want to play other games in my free time, I may as well schedule it in and make a show out of it. Esports life. So, you're probably noticing some interesting little characteristics of me right now. My hair's a little wet. I might strike you as a little flustered. An interesting thing happened to me today, which is that I was getting ready to prepare the daily, and the server went down for beta. I mean, they patched it, like just patched it. There's some changes that have happened. I'm not going to look at them or think about them because, for me, I was just sitting around, just doing some sitting, waiting. Normally, I prepare the show in advance. Many replays get watched, many things get considered, a couple notes get written down. Notes to outline and to help with thoughts and thinking and these types of things. But I just was sitting. All the sitting. So I asked my good ally, Jeffrey Incontrol Robinson, if he'd be so kind as to help donate me some replays, because it's really hard to sift through replays to find a topic when you can watch no replays. So you may as well just steal replays from someone who will be able to provide you with some good games. And then around 6:20, I finally got a hold of the games, and I was like, all right, we have like 20 minutes to prepare the daily. All right, let's do this. And then there was like a 40-minute game of him against Morrow, and I like loaded it up, and it was boring. Like, there was a mech player sitting there, and Jeff taking the whole map, and I was just like, oh fuck, there's nothing to analyze. So I wound up finding some of his PvP games, which, whoo, relievedly enough, are pretty suave, pretty good, pretty excellent. So we're just going to look at those. This is not a standard style of daily where I am coming pre-prepared with a specific set of things I want to note. We're just going to kind of have a good time. Have ourselves a relaxing, enjoyable evening. I hope you're having a good Thursday. I hope your Thursday's treating you well. If you're watching on the archive, I hope it's Saturday for you. That you have a free Saturday and it's good. I hope that, sincerely. Wing it, you guys. YOLO. Ideally, in today's daily, the general concept that we're going to be looking at is that the PvP matchup has been totally thrown into a pit of hecticness. The mothership core is really being weird on the matchup. Not just for the fact that you can do direct harassment, like time bomb the worker line to slow down his income, or to shoot with the mothership core to slow down the income, but also things like the mothership core provides vision up the ramp. Not just to like see buildings and walk your guys right to the edge of the cliff and shoot up and hit those, but specifically a lot of players will do things like have zealots, sentries physically blocking on the ramp. That's almost impossible to do now with that mothership core. Blink plays, 4-gate blink plays, don't require an observer anymore. You can just use a mothership core in a lot of circumstances. So there's a lot of weirdness thrown in that regard. As a result, you might think that the game is all about attacking, all about the crazy weird aggression, but in fact the extra boost to the Phoenix range and also the Oracle are meaning that air transitions a little bit late, still completely acceptable. A lot of the Protoss standards, the Mass Colossus, Zealot Archon, Blink Stalker, all that stuff, still totally works. And also there's the neat defensive answer with the mothership core. So what I've basically done is just listed off a whole bunch of things that are new possibilities in PvP, just to get the brain working a little bit, and we'll step into these games and just have ourselves a ball. I would make announcements, but I'm trying to think if there are any. If you're a subscriber to the Day 9 Daily, you should have received instructions for a mural making little competition thing. So if you're a subscriber and received nothing like that, let me know. I'm going to rub my eye now. Oh, that's a good one. Ooh. Cool. Hopping into this game, in the bottom corner we have CJ Entis's hero. In the left we have Windrammer, which is Incontrol. I don't know if Windrammer has any particular insinuation to it. I'm pretty sure... Alright. Nerd fact check. Chad, help me out. Isn't it a Warhammer 40k thing? I feel like that's a thing. Either that or it's just a funny notion because you can't ram the wind. Who can ram the wind? Either way, this map is just freaking weird. The huge ramp, really a gigantic pain in the ass to deal with. Sound isn't on, also a gigantic pain in the ass to deal with. This back natural is quite nice. This broad range just means you can't really rely on sentries as much, have to rely a little bit more on the gateway units. So, oh, apparently you should look up Windrammer on Urban Dictionary. Thank you, chat. I like crowdsourcing. And again, if we don't have a lot of specifically prepared material for the daily, we may as well have a good time, right? Apparently, if you look up Windrammer, you will giggle in the middle of the break. I will look it up, and I will no doubt giggle. And if you're watching on the archive, too bad you didn't hear me giggle in the break. But that's okay, you can imagine when you look it up yourself. Let's go ahead and head back to the game. Either way. Either way. Oh, that's right. Maybe it was an Angry Video Game Nerd reference. Either way, said Sean for the umpteenth time. Screw it. I'm closing the chat, man. All them distractions. Gateway going down. So, due to the fact that there's this wide entrance, obviously a lot of high gateway count builds will be of considerable note. However, going things like gateway, robo gateway, planting everything close to the nexus is an acceptable opening due to the fact that the mothership core can turn the nexus into a cannon, buying enough time for that robo to produce an immortal. I've been talking a lot about the one basing type stuff. I think it's pretty clear what our second base is going to be. But there's kind of an interesting choice with third base here versus third base up here. This would obviously be the quicker, easier to take third because there's no rocks here. This base would kind of imply that either we have total map control or we already have a big enough army to be able to walk down our ramp on two bases and to be able to take it. I would generally be of the opinion that this base seems, paradoxically, I think, a little bit easier to defend, just due to the fact that this wide open space becomes really our only considerable choke. Whereas if we take this expansion, we have this choke we have to worry about, and we have this one that we have to worry about. And I don't like getting into those position games in PvP. I like just being able to mindlessly look wherever I want in the minimap or Alt-Tab and, you know, get on Facebook and see if that, oh, I heard a message response. Is it that super cute girl who's, while I posted on, just saying something inane and trying to bait her for a response? Yes, it is. And because I position my bases correctly, I don't have to pay attention to the game. I just set up the defense once and tab away. I can even post 3 sentences and punctuate properly. I don't give a damn. Anyways. So, I want to note a metagame consideration that will be coming up here, which is that we see CJ Hero doing the usual expected style of opening, and Windrammer, aka Incontrol, will or steals this gas geyser. Now, from a non-metagame perspective, just from like a regular strategy theory perspective, in Wings of Liberty, the stealing of this gas is considered generally weak. Most players know ways to respond to this that will always give them the advantage. If this second gas is taken at this time, this almost guarantees that the opponent cannot be building a second gateway and a second gas himself at this time. And if your opponent is if Incontrol cannot go for the 2-gate gas opening very easily in this spot, it also cuts out a lot of possibilities for Incontrol. So in Wings of Liberty, CJ Hero would be able to generally play it off well. So we don't see a lot of assimilator stealing nowadays in Wings of Liberty. However, at the start of Wings of Liberty, there were so many weird, wacky openings that were going on that strategically you would take it. Because, again, from a metagame perspective, you just want to... You're unsure of what all the possibilities are and how they'll work out. So you just take the gas to restrict. So this is the sort of play that I think only makes sense kind of early and now. If I am in Incontrol shoes and I'm against Hero and I'm like, oh, dude, Hero's really good. Hero's like, might be top 5 Protoss in the world. I'm happy to do this and just say, whether I'm ahead or behind as a result of this, at least my opponent has fewer options. So that's kind of what I mean by strategy versus metagame. The metagame consideration is just general lack of knowledge of what's going on and knowing that this will restrict possibilities. The strategy one would be, what is the distinct thing that this will automatically prevent my opponent from doing by performing this. And of course, stealing minerals, stealing gas. Here it comes, stealing minerals, going in, stealing gas. Popping out, stealing minerals, and of course, following that up by stealing gas. A cruel fate. This guy is just ganking all the things. So we see what is a style that Incontrol has done a lot, which is to take a geyser at his opponent's base, to take his own geyser to prevent a counter steal, to wait a little bit, and then to put dudes at the gas. But again, it's extremely difficult for a Protoss in Incontrol's shoes to both gas steal and go second gas, second gate. It's either second gas, single gate, or second gate, single gas. And of course, in classic Incontrol fashion, there's a probe here. Ah, a hidden probe, you say? Seriously, if it were the 45-minute mark and I were in a game against Incontrol, I would like scout the whole rim of my base. Oh, it would be excellent. Now, one thing that I like in terms of how the money's aligning, if Incontrol took this expansion and couldn't build a second gateway, that's fine, because he wanted to get an early mothership core up anyways, and there it is. And also, if he has taken this assimilator and has any theory at all if he stole this gas, almost certainly there's going to be a heavier gateway mix coming out of Hero. So we need to have somewhat of a heavy gateway mix ourselves. That's just a logically consistent move. And if there's any theory that Incontrol can produce that says, oh yeah, there's a strong chance that my opponent is actually not going for 4-gate play, then these 3 gateways are a really excellent way to pressure. So I generally like the idea of gas steal straight into 3-gate pressure. Or more specifically, the fact that Incontrol has seen nothing at this point. It's at 5. It's at 5:45. Okay, wow, we haven't seen any probe. We don't have any indication that there's anyone trying to get up into our base to do that big attacking. So yeah, an attack seems totally reasonable. And there it is, going down. So here is already some of the odd tactics that happen up in happen in this matchup. This is something that we really don't get to see very much at all. And I'll actually open up this and just note the large difference between these two, which I think is kind of sweet. I've never really considered this, but that's fine. CJ Hero will give us a little bit of tutorage. I'm going to be backing this on up again. But I was talking a little bit about having vision at the ramp and how critical that is. And this delayed mothership core move out stays behind for as long as possible to be able to spot for any sort of probage, trying to get up into the main base. So now we have ourselves a rather I guess this is kind of typical. A player who goes for a robo that didn't have enough dudes at the front ends up getting broken. Pretty typical outcome. Except we have this totally kick-ass added benefit kind of maneuver going on here. The extra mothership core can do these nice slowing things. This is really nice when a player has something like half stalkers, half zealots, and you have all stalkers. You can time bomb and really nail the zealots. So it's super critical in a lot of these early micro battles that I like. A little bit of misclick firing. The Immortal is literally in the best possible position. But unfortunately, this is just the classic. I did a slightly more well constructed build, so I just get the advantage in terms of these engagements. I don't actually have that much to say at this point because, let's be honest, if you end up with your opponent's mothership core away and there's this huge ramp and our opponent didn't get a lot of gateways, well, you're going to break his front. So Incontrol is just continuing to break the front. However, here's something that I did find to be quite nice. Quite cool. So, well, it looks like Incontrol doesn't do it yet. Incontrol just continues to try to apply as much pressure as possible. That's to be expected. Mothership core cannot quite do anything at this point. Some nice force fielding, blah, blah, blah. It's not entirely definitive who is coming out ahead because at this point we do see that Hero does still have more probes. But what I thought was quite cool was this transition right here into the Stargate. This is increasingly something that I've seen in some of the PvP games that I've been watching. The Stargate has the benefit of being able to obviously shoot the mothership core. Where is the mothership core? I want to box these things for examples. Where is it? Where's the core? Is it dead? Oh my god, it's dead. There's no mothership core. Guys, imagine a mothership core. Imagine it being shot by phoenixes. That's what I mean. The increased range of the Phoenix, though, is also really significant for being able to harass, being able to deal with Colossi a lot easier. The fact that you can throw down force fields, and then the Colossus want to walk up to obviously knock down the force fields, and suddenly my Phoenixes and my Immortals can shoot at the enemy's Colossus because of the range 5 now on the Phoenixes. But especially in a position like this where we see our opponent has had not really a lot of other options than building the Immortal, building everything he can to stay alive. We know that he's going to be, 1, relying on Immortals for defense, 2, that he doesn't have the Twilight Council for defense. So both of these are really good in the Phoenix spot. But other than the Phoenixes, we can also set ourselves up to transition, if we need to, into things like Void Rays. The Oracle, not so much. Our opponent will likely have a decent amount of anti-air. Not amazing anti-air, not like Blink Stalkers, but the Void Ray especially is sweet because if for some reason Hero decides to go for like a one-base Colossus push, totally reasonable kind of thing to do. Sure, the Phoenixes are useful in there, but also the Void Rays, another really nice transition piece. And also, even if the Phoenixes just completely fall flat on their freaking faces, we can just start building Immortals. Or excuse me, we can start building Void Rays. Yeah. So I think this is a really a strong, reasonable, well thought out transition to go for this at this point. I don't feel like this would be as strong in a Wings of Liberty setting just because of all the various things that Hero could do that just destroy Phoenixes. And there's no other utility. The fact that this Void Ray is a significant improvement in Heart of the Swarm means that we can even deal with something like Hero suddenly throwing down a Twilight Council and blinking out. All I'm saying is this is more flexible. Damn it, it has a lot more flexibility. God, so flexible. And this pressuring, this pushing, continues to force units out of Hero, which continues to mean more immortals, more gateway units, and less tech things like, you know, Twilight Council. So I like that this pressure is also consistent with us going Stargate tech. Yeah. And of course we can just run away. There's not really a worry of getting force fielded out. And hell, even if he does force field us out, that's an even bigger restriction on his tech. So look at Hero, building all the wrong things. Oh my god, we've totally trick-sword him. And there's the mothership core that makes me howl with laughter every time I wander into a Terran player's base and shoot away at all his things. I'm gonna stop. Just gonna stop here. Just done. This is where I'm going to be going into part 2. We're going to do a little bit of breaks, rub my eyes again. I'm having dry eyes for many days now. It's hard. I have a hard life being someone who uses a computer. Oh, how hard it is being me. Thus far, we've seen some, I guess, expected types of openings. We've seen the sort of basic gateway aggression, the basic robo defense with, you know, some difficulty. But it's interesting the way that the mothership core is kind of messing with the timing of a lot of things and allowing for the timing of other things. A gas steal is just sort of notoriously bad in Wings of Liberty. It doesn't really create that much benefit for us because our opponent can literally just mirror what we do and be ahead. However, Incontrol says, okay, I take this gas, and then rather than, or because I can't build the second gateway, I still have just enough money to squeak out this early mothership core, and sort of maintains that scouting edge and pushing edge. And also Hero, by going for this mothership core, also too cannot do the sort of harassment that we see that he wants to. I just think it's a pretty sweet unit. Also just things like this. Just this very basic formation is so useful against Blink Stalkers. The fact that most vision used to be just restricted right to here, so it's very easy to get blinked up upon. Pretty cool. Most of all, I like this transition into the Phoenix. When we come back in part 2, we're going to finish this game, and when we finish that up, we'll watch a game between Incontrol and Bling. Hi. Ha. Yes.